I'm outside the venue in Cape Town where the Wikimania pre-conference on decolonizing the internet has happened. I just had a discussion with one of the organizers, quite frankly pathetic. She informed me that, well, they've started first thing this morning, and it's an invitation-only event. I've explained to her the problem of wiki deletions of apartheid, anti-apartheid history, the problem of several bannings of publications like South Press, New Nation, Grassroots, the deletion of the Students' Revolts of 1987 page, the problem of Y2K and most South African online resources being only available since Y2K, since the year 2000. We're talking about material going back to the 80s, TRC records, the history of a crime against humanity where there are serious problems. And this conference calls itself a Decolonizing the Internet conference. It's done absolutely no homework whatsoever, done nothing to investigate or to find out. She says to me, well, when she gets back to India, she'll have this conversation. Well, quite frankly, that's disgusting, it's rotten, it's rude, it's disrespectful, it's a waste of resources. The funders should know about this. The whole of the Wikimedia community should know about what is happening, supposedly decolonizing the internet. This isn't decolonizing the internet. This is decolonizing donuts and coffee for rich white people and their allies. So, David Robert Lewis from Media Alternatives today in Cape Town.
Hi. What are you doing?
Are you seriously think that you're decolonizing the internet where you haven't even bothered to invite people who were banned during the 80s by the apartheid state? I've raised this issue about the banning of several publications, including New Nation, Grassroots, the Student Revolts of 87, speedy delete, right? Off Wikipedia, deleting periods of history like the 1987 Student Revolt, where campuses were closed down under a state of emergency regulations where the Botha state rendered. What are you guys doing in South Africa if you're not wanting to engage with apartheid history? What are you doing here, Okay.
I think you are asking three questions.
Yes.
Not English, not very good.
Right.
I think the first one is about who gets visible or invisible on Wikipedia.
Yes.
I think that's a major concern. That's what has led my activity on Wikipedia. I think in Brazil we have the same problem, not with formal apartheid, but with the history of slavery.
Right.
That you don't have it written up.
Yeah.
So there is this power cycle that leads to deletion of many pages that are of course relevant, but they don't meet the criteria of notability on Wikipedia, and so this is a power dynamic, and I think this is a major issue.
Right.
The second question is about apartheid in Africa and I think the institutional deletion of the memory.
Yes.
And I think the whole idea of events like this one or general that challenge knowledge ecosystem is to tackle these kind of things, because if you don't, basically it depends on having people mobilizing to change the power dynamics in the real world.
Right.
As crucial as just the power of remembering or sourcing or any other source of power.
Right.
But then, if we are serious about this idea, we need to be conscious about dynamics of, and I think the emancipatory dynamics of privacy or I don't know.
You're talking to someone who is invisible, so issues to do with privacy, when people were forcibly disappeared. I'm absolutely outraged and upset that there's been so little engagement from this conference. I'm absolutely appalled at what you people are doing, what you people are perpetrating. It seems to be privacy is number one, right? What about people who never had privacy to begin with? People who were forcibly detained and thrown in jail cells without access to justice. And you guys come along here, sort of namby-pamby, kind of like this highfalutin, mega broadcasting from other countries to come to this country with not engaging. How do you respond to that?
So, okay, that was the third question that I didn't brought up. Is I don't really know the specific dynamic at play here. So
the fixation or obsession with privacy, I understand that it's a digital rights issue, but for me it's a bourgeois fixation when you're talking about people living in the townships who were tortured. And the issues for them isn't privacy, the issue is memory, the issue is why is there no page and torture of South Africans on Wikipedia? Why has that been deleted? Why are you denying that people were detained and tortured? What have you done? What is this conference intending to achieve, if not to tick the boxes off for funders and to get free flights and free hotel accommodation? Because I am accusing, j'accuse.
Me?
Yeah, I'm accusing j'accuse, okay?
Okay, so first, in my defense, I don't see myself perpetrating, if you're saying apartheid in South Africa.
Well, you're collaborating with some kind of denialist viewpoint or lack of engagement viewpoint. You're collaborating with the deletionists.
Why? I'm sorry.
By participating in a conference that's calling itself Decolonizing the Internet. But clearly it's not about decolonizing the Internet, it's about another agenda. There's some other agenda. I don't know where that agenda comes from, but there's been no engagement, there's been no communication. You arrive here out of teleported, parachuted in from foreign countries to talk about issues that have got no negligible impact on people living in the townships and squatter camps, people who were tortured and forcibly disappeared in South Africa. We are wanting to alert the organizers to that oversight. And I've been told basically, hi, footsack, pack your things and leave kind of thing.
Okay, I'm not an organizer of the conference.
Right.
So,
I'd like to maybe you can assist us with getting in touch with the organizers.
Sure, I think the organization is whose knowledge.
Well, I'm posing this question: whose conference as well? You know, whose insight, whose knowledge? Because it's not my knowledge. It's not my insights. It's not my contribution. It seems to be a conference parachuted in with little engagement with people on the ground living in this country. I see from the program there are two South Africans. There's Sean Jacobs from Africa is another country. There's one individual and a man from the Shuttleworth Foundation. So you've got one person representing bourgeois technium, and you've got another person who's not exactly an expert in apartheid history because he wasn't part of the anti-apartheid movement. So who is here from the grassroots, from the anti-apartheid movement that you can tell me you came to South Africa and you were engaging with people with history on the ground, or is it just some bourgeois festival here?
Well, we just started, so the people I've talked to, so yesterday there were 3 librarians from I think the public system of libraries, but we haven't talked about their role in anti-apartheid dynamics. So, but they took me to this, I forgot the name, I don't want to get the name wrong, but
District
it's the lodge.
Museum?
No,
the slave lodge, yeah.
Yeah, so
the history of slavery in this country is quite incredible.
Yeah. So I was comparing to the history of slavery in Brazil.
Yeah.
Because what struck me is here, as far as I understood, based on the VOC dynamics was to have Cape Town as a living port for, or basically for slaves to Brazil, or to other countries in America. So brutality in the slave period was, I wouldn't say at a different level, but at a different organizing than what we had in Brazil, that was basically a point of receiving slaves. So I was completely shocked, and I think this is what you're saying is really important. I don't want to be here and don't really know anything about the history, but at the same time it's really hard.
Well, the thing is, can you rely on Wikipedia for that history?
Can't.
No, you can't, right?
No,
so
you can't.
this is this assumption that people have made that Wikipedia is the authority. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Are you on the Decolonizing conference?
Maybe.
You might be.
Yeah.
I'm an invisible person. I'm a part of the problem of wiki deletions have deleted anti-apartheid history because of the lack of source material. There's a problem with apartheid history, anti-apartheid movement, with the banning of people and with forcible disappearances, and several publications which I worked for back in the 80s and 90s that were banned by the Ministry of Security. And I requested assistance from one of the organizers today. I was wanting to give you some, I think it would be a shame not to talk about this if you're in South Africa, but it seems that this conference isn't about decolonizing anything. It's about ticking the boxes for funders and parachuting in and not bothering with what's going on the ground. I don't see people from the townships. I see a lot of rich kids here engaging on things, eating donuts and having coffee, and being quite obsessed with issues to do with digital rights and privacy, which quite frankly, it's like a bourgeois obsession. If a person was tortured, like where's the page on political tortures in South Africa, right? That page doesn't exist. There's a problem with the TRC record, with the records of what happened historically. This is the country where we got to deal with it. I'm raising this issue now, and I'm being treated like what am I? A persona non grata. I don't exist, right? I shouldn't be here. There's no attempt to communicate with me. Are you so obsessed with your face? This is an obsession. I want to ask you something, right? People were forcibly disappeared, right, and tortured, and you got the audacity to come here and not engage with people who were detained. You got the audacity to fly in, parachute out here, and call your conference decolonizing. What? The internet. You're not decolonizing anything, frankly, right? I'm accusing. J'accuse. Okay, I accuse. Right? I accuse the organizers of not engaging and not bothering to do your homework. Why? Because you're relying on Wikipedia as your primary source. You're relying on Wikipedia as your primary source of information, right?
But let me. I don't quite get. So you work in an organization? Can you just tell me a little bit more what you do, because I didn't understand it very well.
I'm an independent researcher.
Okay.
Right. So you can understand if you went to Chile and you arrived, and you guys don't want to do anything about the Pinochet regime because doesn't involve decolonization. I think that would be outrageous, right? I think that would be sad if you had to, for instance, if you had to fly to Palestine and you don't want to do anything about the Palestinians, but you want to just have a conference on decolonizing the internet, right, in Tel Aviv, and Palestine doesn't exist. I think people might think that there's a problem with the way this whole thing has been organized.
Yeah, so what you're trying to bring forward is the issue of
engagement with people who were detained and forcibly disappeared and tortured
here
and banned, and I'm one of those people who were banned.
Okay.
Right?
You're banned from?
As a student, 87.
I'm sorry for my ignorance.
There was mass banning.
Yeah.
That page was deleted on Wikipedia by an institution called the University of Cape Town. I can show you the history of that deletion. We reduced to one footnote, right? There's a problem of me being deleted. Okay.
Yeah, that, and first by the government, and then you feel that you're being invisibilized in your cause.
Right. I was deleted by the government, and now I'm being deleted by you guys, right?
And, like that's part of the conversation I think that we are trying to have. We're obviously not going to solve anything, but it happens a lot. For example, we were trying to edit about female soccer teams, and the female soccer part got deleted. Like, no, it doesn't matter. It's not a female.
Let's get rid of the women. Women don't exist, right?
It's not Wikipedia's fault. It's this whole system, and But I understand.
You understand this? So here I am, and I'm trying to raise awareness, and raise consciousness, and that's all I have. And if you want to ask me where's the evidence, I can point you in the direction.
But you were trying to bring this subject to the conference, and it was pushed out.
I've been pushed. I've been deleted. I've been essentially. I don't exist. I'm Mr. Invisible. Right, I was put on a list wanting to check out a book by Nelson Mandela out of the Jago Library. Nelson Mandela was banned, right? There's a problem of dealing with what happens when people are deleted and banned and turned into anonymity. Where it seems like we're talking across purposes because you guys want to go on this whole privacy trip and anonymity trip where I'm saying that's precisely what we don't want to be anonymous. I'm not trying to be anonymous. I'm trying to get out of anonymity.
Yeah, but some people want to be anonymous too, so it's like reconciling both. Another question.
Right.
Why are you filming?
So I've got some kind of record. I can move forward with this. I can blog about it. I've got a YouTube channel. I can put you on the YouTube maybe. I don't know. It's stuff to work with. That's not in Wikipedia. And I thought that was what you guys would be talking about at a Decolonizing the Internet conference held in Cape Town. Instead, what you guys seem to be going on about are these ephemeral bourgeois issues that kind of like are current, but they're not cross-cutting, they're not intersectional. I want to see where's the intersectionality of this conference. Don't tell me like gays and lesbians don't exist, or women, we go back to, you're a lesbian, right?
Yeah.
So
on the record, so one question. What about if I come from a very Catholic society, so to speak, no? And I am not publicly lesbian because in my country they would lynch me, and you just filmed that. Would you put it online?
Well, yeah.
Let me finish. I understand where you're coming from, that in your posture you don't want to be anonymous.
Right.
But some people
respect that.
But some people want to be anonymous.
Right.
You know, so that's also intersectionality.
I understand.
It's about putting your issues forward.
Yeah.
But in a context where we can all talk about it with respect to what other people are living and their processes.
Right. I understand that there are bloggers and Wikipedians who might be under threat from governments around the world.
And we are also not Wikipedians.
Yeah, we're not.
Right.
I edit Wikipedia.
There might be people under threat from foreign governments. I can understand that. I don't think investigating what happened in this country is going to jeopardize your existence, quite frankly. I think there are lessons to be drawn from our experience in this country with apartheid.
And that's part of traveling, right?
And that's part of traveling. So I'm inviting people to please engage, please invite me, please make me exist, please take me out of invisibility.
No, you exist to us. We're talking to you, you exist to us.
Right.
I think without the camera it would be a little bit better to talk.
You want me to put I can put this on?
It just felt a bit aggressive that you came and
hardly.
Bunch of people
hardly. You know, the thing is,
but I understand where you're coming from, journalism.
Sometimes you've got to get in people's faces because it's all about the food and it's all about the parachuting in and flying around in fancy jets, right?
Well, not for me.
I hope so. I hope so, but
not for me. I'm listening. I understand where you're coming from.
I don't see a lot of brothers from the townships here. I don't see a lot of black kids here. That's usually a problem in this country, where there's a separate development.
Yeah.
Where you got white society and you got black society, and there was attempts to partition, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the problem with that is that unless you're actually engaging and making active steps to overcome those obstacles, nothing will happen. You'll continue in your paradigm, and other people will be excluded.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I am labeling this conference as an exclusionist conference. It's a deletionist conference. It's a do nothing about the internet conference. It's a tick the boxes for funders conference and get free airfares for the organisers' conference. I'm so completely upset that one of the organisers says she was going back to India and she'll communicate with me from India. What? You mean you want a face-to-face conversation with a person in this country who was part of the anti-apartheid movement, part of the student movement? And I can't participate because you haven't invited me, because you don't know who I am, because I was deleted and banned by the Botha regime, and I mustn't do anything about it, and I mustn't get in people's face, and I mustn't be aggressive about it.
Do you have some more information that we can maybe read up on, like flyers or a webpage I can visit? Because
look at my webpage. Welcome to look at my ethnopunk, my Wikipedia page. What I suggest is, while you're in Cape Town, the Mayabuya Centre at UWC is an excellent archive of...
Sorry, say the name?
Mayabuya Centre.
Mayabuya.
Yeah,
how do you spell that?
UWC. Mayiyue. Mayabuya.
Okay.
Centre in UWC. They've got tons and tons. They've got videos of the Defiance campaign, the source material, the District 6 Museum, which is a place where people are forcibly removed. You know, what are you guys doing about forced removals?
Yeah.
The memories of people who are forcibly removed. You want to decolonize the internet. These people don't exist, okay?
I think the conference just started, so I cannot make such a judgmental judgment as you are making on the conference, but I do know that Zico, one of the organizers, wrote an article about Mariela.
Yeah, Mariela Franco, that was the next
Mariela Franco that was killed by Wikipedia first.
Yeah.
So in a systematic basis, the articles on Wikipedia on her professional life, all the activism that she did before she was murdered, were systematically deleted. Just after.
Sorry to interrupt, but I would love to talk to you, but without the camera.
We can do that. Would you like to sit down somewhere? I can turn the camera off.
Yes. Would it be okay for you if I talk to him?
Of course. Please go ahead.
Okay, well, this is fairly typical. I've just received an email from James Alexander, Manager Trust and Safety of the Wikimedia Foundation, stating that they've decided to cancel my registration to Wikimania on Cape Town because certain people were uncomfortable with my presence outside the Decolonizing conference, internet conference earlier this week. And in addition to concerns about your behavior at Wiki in Durban 2 years earlier this year. I can immediately refute these allegations since I have not been outside of the country. My passport reflects that I haven't traveled anywhere near Tunis. And the fact that they're concerned about their safety because I was interviewing some people outside the decolonizing event. I'm sorry, but that's a lot of bullshit, and I'm calling it bullshit.
Here we have the Wikimania registration. I'm just looking over here. See the delegates. So here we are. It's a registration. How are you doing? Hi.
Do you mind asking my permission before you videotape?
I'd love to just put up a sign. I can ask you permission, but here's the thing. I'm recording this for the press. And the reason I'm here is I received an email from a man by the name of James Alexander deregistering me from Wikimania. Apparently it's got something to do with my behavior at Wikimania in Tunis. I can refute this because I've never been out of the country for the past 20 years. Right. He's also objecting to my behavior at the Decolonizing the Internet conference. I wasn't there at all. I made people feel a bit maybe uncomfortable outside the venue. I interviewed some of the delegates. And one of my objections, aside from the fact that it goes contrary to all the values of an open, transparent society that I thought Wikipedia stood for,
you could say, classical liberal values of a free press and a free education and inquiry. One of my objections is the failure of Wikimania and the organizers to engage with persons who were banned by the apartheid regime, and the problem of collaboration with the Dirty Tricks campaign, where there have been serious omissions and deletions, where, for instance, the Students' Revolt of '87, speedy delete, the problem to do with Winnie Mandela, Dirty Tricks operations by the apartheid state, where it seems to me that you guys are perpetrating the hegemony of the regime, where you've had a decolonizing the internet conference without bothering to engage with people.
Right. It's hard for me to engage with this discussion with no context at all, and also it's not terribly voluntary. I did ask you to maybe ask my permission.
Yeah, well, I'm asking you. It's going to be post fact, because I'm doing this for the press. At the moment now, what it is, it's going to be an expose of the manner in which people have collaborated with the apartheid regime, that you've collaborating with the Dirty Tricks campaign, right, to discredit student activists. I happen to be one of those student activists from '87. I'm a former band journalist. I've worked for several publications, and I'm going to put this to you, right? Your failure to cover, to have any pages on South Press, New Nation, or Grassroots. Okay, Grassroots was taken off the shelves by the apartheid state.
I mean, without looking into the issue,
the thing is
it's hard for me to give you an informed...
I understand that the thing is that I am demanding some kind of restitution. I would have thought that a Wikimania in South Africa would be engaging with the apartheid, anti-apartheid movement and with the students' movement, and I'm a representative of that students' movement of '87. I'm a person formally classified as white by the regime, okay? There's failure to engage with issues where there's been like a secret conferences, right? With failure to engage with issues to do with censorship, with state oppression and hegemony, the Dirty Tricks campaign of the apartheid state, right? I received an email today from James Alexander.
You received it from myself, yeah.
Hi, is this Mr. James Alexander, right? Well, first of all, I can immediately refute your allegations. I haven't been out of the country for 20 years, so there's no possibility that I attended the Tunis conference. Secondly, I was not at the Decolonizing the Internet conference because I wasn't admitted by the organizers. I did go there hoping that they might just make an exception on the basis that I'm a member of the students' movement of '87, a former band person and a band journalist, and a part of the anti-apartheid movement. And there's some serious issues that people need to engage in with, like the historical record of late Winnie Mandela, for instance. Roads must fall and fees must fall, and I was hoping that there would be some kind of space to engage. Instead, what I received was this kind of knee-jerk reaction that here's a troublemaker, here's some problem person, let's just quickly get rid of him, because it seems that there's been an enclosure of the debate on decolonization by the organizers. There's some serious omissions. Right, so while I'm here, I would then be requesting some kind of restitution, or at least an opportunity to put the facts before you.
It is certainly possible that my information about Tunis was incorrect.
Yes.
Obviously, I was not there as well.
I was never there.
For the whose knowledge question, honestly, the biggest concern on my part was that there were many complaints from attendees that they felt uncomfortable.
I was not there. This is the problem.
You were in attendance, even if you did not go inside.
No, I was outside the venue. You're welcome to review the footage.
It is.
You're welcome to look at it.
I understand.
If people feel uncomfortable about me, what I would suggest is what they're feeling uncomfortable about is the omission, is the problem. I don't think that you guys are so special that you've got insider information into how the apartheid state manifested, and that you've arrived here, parachuted out of nowhere, arrived in Cape Town, And I don't think you guys are the experts, when it comes to speedy deletions of a pages on apartheid history, where people are outside of the country, the problem of the lack of the digital assets, where a lot of sites only came online after Y2K in South Africa. Now you've got like records in archives going back decades. And what I was wanting to engage with the organizers, and particularly yourself, is how to digitize those assets so that we don't have this problem of lack of citation with there's speedy deletions, and I can't defend anything that when there's oral history to do with slavery, when there's oral history to do with apartheid and forced removals. The lack of digital assets online is purely because of lack of funding. It's because of being rendered invisible. It's an issue to do with invisibility. So I can imagine that people might feel a bit uncomfortable about this situation because it's quite frankly embarrassing that we're having this discussion. It's 2018. This discussion should have happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you mind if we just stepped right over here into the public? I just want to make sure that we can leave the space free. I completely agree that out on the public space we have no jurisdiction.
Yes.
That of course does not mean that they are not feeling uncomfortable about that, and about especially when you have the camera, when you're sort of.
I did ask permission when I requested access to the conference. I explained who I was, introduced myself, and then I requested, is it possible to video? And I wasn't even given a hearing. I was just basically told to pack my things and leave. I think that was very rude and disrespectful. I can understand it being an issue inside a conference where there might be privileged information or there might be problems to do with repressive regimes. I can understand that, and why would I want to change that?
I don't think it's even just about having, sensitive information flying around. It's just that, some people like myself don't like to be filmed.
You just don't like to be filmed, right?
It's like I'm happy to talk and chat until the sun goes down.
It's your right, it's your privilege in a venue at a conference, but I don't think outside the venue, when it comes to the press, the thing is that you just become a member of the public.
No, I don't disagree at all.
Right.
Like in terms of jurisdiction, I'm just trying to explain that why some people might be feeling, uncomfortable, whether inside or outside. Jurisdictionally, sure, yes, the conference is like, our domain.
Yes.
Like, if I may say.
You're welcome to instruct me to turn my camera off within a conference, but please don't do that outside a conference. You've got no rights to do that. It's an affront. It's taking away my rights.
I think at this point it's only like a kind request that, if you do realize that people are not comfortable, you feel
obviously if you've asked,
it's just a kind request.
Obviously if you've asked and they said so, then we have absolutely no problem. I have no particular problem.
No problem with being filmed, right?
However, I would ask as much as possible that you attempt not to film other attendees. Just because you are correct. Not only are some just uncomfortable, some do come from repressive regimes.
I'm fully aware with it. So taking your advice, right? I've listened to what you've had to say. I understand your point of view, and I kindly request that you restore my credentials at this conference. It's very rare that I attend a Wikimania conference. I really like an opportunity to put some of these issues. There might be some sessions where it might be possible. I'm a little bit upset that there isn't no slot on the apartheid memory. That's a serious omission and oversight by the organizers. I don't know how it came to be.
Yeah, it's not part of the program, so I can't see.
I'm quite gobsmacked and flabbergasted that it's a loss of opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to deny the request.
Yeah?
It is not meant as a punishment or.
It seems like you're leveling a punishment without where the facts. Where I've refuted your facts. It's purely on the basis of emotions and feelings.
Taking it. I will agree that much of it is based on the emotions and feelings. Right. I am not disputing your side of the facts.
And I can tell you now the emotional content of the apartheid state. It's a tragic crime against humanity. Yeah. People can't deal with the Holocaust or can't deal with the apartheid.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's a crime against humanity, and there are strong emotions involved.
There are.
And I've got every right to object and to campaign.
Yeah.
So here we are. You're on record. You've denied me. I've stated the case. I do intend taking this further. I will be uploading this onto my YouTube channel. I'll be raising awareness about the narrowing of the debate and the fact that you guys excluded essentially apartheid from the conference in South Africa. I think it's a tragedy.
I appreciate you letting me know what the next steps.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, whatever. Fucking white supremacists, right?
I have specifically.
White supremacists, right?
I have explicitly requested.
Piss off.